Well, you may remember from the last video that this is the seat that comes with the Catch 120. And last time I added these armrests to it. And in this video, I want to add just a little bit more to this kayak. Well, I'm not just talking about this sticker here that's going to help measure fish. I'm talking about adding more stuff to the kayak seat. What I'm talking about is adding something like this. This is something called a seat assist. It's going to help somebody get up out of a chair. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I bought this thing online. It came in this box, and now all I have to do is attach it to this kayak. I think it's pretty neat, and it helps you up and out of a chair like this. These seats are meant to be used on like couches or on a standard seat like this. You can see there's like a non-skid kind of bottom to this thing that's just also pretty rigid. So when you put it on this chair like this, it kind of stays put. And all you have to do is put some of your weight on it before it actuates, and you can actually adjust it depending on how much you weigh. It's really comfortable actually. And in order to get up, you just kind of lean forward a little bit, and it helps you stand up. I think this is going to be a cool thing to add to the kayak. The only problem is that this chair has something rigid to support the seat, whereas the kayak chair only has some fabric. So we're going to have to figure out how to mount this onto the kayak. Well, the first thing that I might do is take a look at what makes this seat tick. If you see under here, there's a bunch of straps that support the fabric. And this is the strap that holds the seat down. I do think that I'm going to have to cut the bottom part of this seat away from the backrest. And we got a seam here, so I could probably cut just in front of that. And I don't think it would fall apart. Just right on this side of that black seam right there. I could probably cut that away, use this strap to reattach the backrest to this rail right here. Yeah. Well, it's another one of those moments where you got to be brave. Where's my scissors? Whew, boy, this feels so wrong. Ha! There we go. Done and done. Okay, now to take this off. Well, there you go. Backrest is just kind of like flopping around right there. There are still buckles attached to the fabric, so I could just sew some straps onto this and use that to attach the bottom of the backrest to this rail right here. And to support the seat, what I'm going to do is add a support from here going across to about there, and that I think is where the fabric was supporting the weight of the rider anyways. The weight wasn't transferred here, which might actually cause that to bend. I think the weight was pushing down here, and then that weight is transferred this way and that way to a spot that's close to these supports right here. So I'll just recreate that by putting something across the top here. Well, here I am kind of looking for something to use as a support. That's just wood. It's too thin. This is like starboard material, plastic, but again, very flexible. That's not going to offer much support. Here I've got a piece of copper, but that's going to patina real bad in the salt, and I don't know how it's going to react to the aluminum of the seat frame that's on there right now. Got some more wood here. That's 2x2. That might work, but I don't know how it's going to hold the moisture for years to come. Don't have any more of this stainless steel tubing. I think right here, this is the ticket. That's square aluminum, and it's 48 inches long. This is going to be perfect. There you go. Now we got two pieces of identical length, and I can use these as supports for the seat. Let's go see how it works out. Let's see. Huh, that almost looks like it belongs there. Well, I'm going to drill some holes through the square tubing and the seat, and then I'm going to make a piece of plywood that I can attach to this, that I can then screw the seat to. One of the things I realized was that it's going to be very difficult to attach these with a bolt like this. You can see that if I bolt it to the bottom, it's long enough, but if I bolt it through the top, it's not long enough. And I really don't want to buy any more hardware. So what I might do is just cut these a little bit, kind of like that. And if I shave that part of the tube away, then I can get to the top of the screw slash bolt, or whatever you call this, with a screwdriver. And I think that's going to be the best way to attach these to the chair.
The nice thing about aluminum is that it doesn't make too many sparks when you're cutting it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two together and cut them both at the same time. Alright, now I'm going to need any file. This'll do.
Now we're going to take these stainless steel bolts and put them in here. That's pretty good. Now I can get a screwdriver up on the top of these.
How nice is that?
That's your home. Are you too good for your home?
Okay, now we're going to do the other side. And the problem is always to make it symmetrical. Doing one side is easy. Doing the other side, however. So into the 2 and 1 7/8 maybe. That's pretty good right there. From the inside to there, 11 7/8. 11, about 7/8. Very good. Gotta make sure you get all the shavings. That'll hurt you if you step on it. Yeah. There you go. Good. In case you were wondering, I do like to make a mess. Makes me feel like I'm doing something. Just need these, because I don't know where my ratchet is. Does seem like it's working.
There you can see with that little piece cut out, I now have access to put a screwdriver onto that nut. Well, there you go. Now that these aluminum tracks are in place, I actually have something rigid that I can bolt the seat to, as opposed to before where all I had there was fabric. Now I got something a little stronger. The only question is, this is not supported now the entire way across. And you can see the bottom of this will flex a little bit. So I don't think it's a problem. I think it will actually support the weight of anybody. If you fell from a standard position and you fell onto the seat, something might bend or break. I'm not quite sure, but either way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some plywood to the top of this, and that should give a little bit more rigidity to the base of the seat. So, very first thing to do, I guess, is to trace out the bottom of this seat. You can see inside there, there's a metal piece right here that holds the actuator, and it distributes the weight and keeps it from bending this way. I'm going to add plywood anyways. Let's go ahead and trace the bottom onto the plywood. Well, there you go. This piece of plywood is now going to hopefully distribute the weight from here a little bit better. So that should do very nicely. But before I attach this, let's put a little paint on this wood. Well, there it is. There's a piece of wood painted, and now I've got a good place to mount the bottom of the seat. Just got to add a couple bolts through the seat and the plywood into the aluminum rail, and this will be permanently attached. Well, there you have it. The seat is now thoroughly bolted down, and it actually feels like it's working a little bit better now that it's bolted down. It helps me out of the seat really nice. It doesn't slide around. It feels like if I were to drop myself from a height onto this, there's no fear of it breaking at all. I think this is pretty good. The only issue that I'm really having now is the top of the backrest here is digging into my back. If you can see that. Yeah, because I raised the seat up about 5 inches or so, the top of the backrest is now about 5 inches too low. This part of the backrest right here ought to be hitting me way higher on my back, say in the middle of my back. So I guess I'm going to have to cut the backrest and raise it up a little bit, which is fine because I have the adjustment in the armrests. Yeah, we could do this. Well, seeing how this video is already approaching the 15-minute mark, and there's still a lot more to come concerning this seat, I think I might end this segment here. And you can see I'm just taking the seat back apart, and I'm about to cut it into pieces. I've already marked the location of where the cut's going to be. Stay tuned for the next episode where we finally finish this modified kayak seat. Thanks for watching, everybody.